Well, we are back after 7-8 weeks to the world of Inuyasha for a brief little bit until we decide, hey, we got another show to watch as well.
Yep.
But yeah, we are returning for just a hot second, and then we'll be back to Love Live next week, as long as nothing else happens.
Yeah.
So, hello, welcome to this week's episode of Jared Now Watch Inuyasha. It is episode number 54. I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello, hello.
We are discussing episode number 54, or season 2, episode 27, entitled The Backlash Wave, Tetsaiga's Ultimate Technique. Which is a very weird name for an ultimate technique. It just sounds very generic.
It really does. It also sounds like not that powerful.
No.
I don't know. It's not a very good name.
It is interesting for sure. We got a little bit of a recap though.
Thank God we needed it.
Because last time we were here, Inuyasha went to go fight Ryokotse.
Ryokotse, his papa's enemy.
Yes. And he was not doing so well. He had gotten separated from the Tetsaiga when everyone had shown up, and they're like, oh no, he's separated from the Tetsaiga.
He gonna be a demon.
So he becomes a demon for a bit and starts slashing at the demon. And Tetsusaiga's like, oh no, he can't do that. If he does that too much, he's going to become a full demon. We better go then.
Goodbye. Also worth mentioning, Kagome's voice actress kind of just phoned it in this week.
There was some weird voice acting in this episode for sure.
There was some weird direction. It mainly Kagome, but there were some other lines too. Like I remember Moroku had one that I was like, "What? Why did you say it like that?"
Yeah.
And Inuyasha had one too.
Yeah, she does not want to go. She's ready to just like stay there to help Inuyasha, but then Inuyasha starts lumbering towards the Tetsaiga.
She's like, I'm going to send Yoga on his way because he wants to get out of here.
Shocking.
Yep. Who's surprised by that? But yeah, he's just wandering.
So yeah, he keeps his lumbering towards the sword. Eventually gets to it, and he's like, ugh. And then Ryokotse's like, I'm going to shoot a big old ball at you.
What?
And they're like, oh no, he's dead. But then the dust settles and he's holding the sheath of the Tetsaiga, and they're like, oh yeah, he did this before.
All right, he can do that.
And I was like, oh yeah, he did that before.
Yeah, I totally forgot that was possible.
The Thunder Brothers.
The Thunder Brothers.
But then they're like, hey, he can't do that again or else it's going to break. So Ryokotse sends another attack at him, and Moroku tries to divert it with the wind tunnel, and kind of helps, but kind of really doesn't. It was a very shocking usage of the wind tunnel without the bees just coming in and being like, no.
No.
Even then, he doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, he basically just like changes the angle slightly.
Yeah. But Inuyasha is able to kind of come back to his normal self, and he has the Tetsaiga, and he's like, I'm back. I'm going to defeat you.
Woo!
And he's like, he transforms a sword again, and he's like, oh, it's a little heavy. Then he starts picking. He's like, hey, wait a minute. This feels light again. Huh. This is weird. Anyways, I'm going to stab you in the heart. Ka-dunk.
Blip.
And they're like, yay, he did it. Woo.
Also, a side note on, again, voice acting. I don't know what effect they put on Ryokotsuke's.
Oh, yeah. You could not understand.
I had
a
very hard time understanding what he was saying. I was like,
just garbling some marbles. Like, yeah, yep, 100%. Understood
what
that.
you said.
Yep.
I was like, marble mouth, what is going on here?
Yeah, that was not good.
It was not good. And Inuyasha does not have subtitles when you're watching the dub version, so
nope.
I was just like, yep, he sure is talking. I'm sure he's trying to say something important. Oh man. Anyway, sorry. The sword's light.
The sword's light stabs Ryokotse in the heart, and they're like, yeah, you did it. But then Ryokotse's like, hey, just kidding, I'm not dead yet, sucker. JK,
I have rock hard skin, rock hard body.
Rock hard skin, armor.
Basically, Boomhauer of Inuyasha.
Man, I'll tell you what, man, dang on, I got that rock hard skin, man. You can be stronger than armor, man. Dang on, Tetsusaiga going to hit me. I'm a strong demon. You're dead going to hit me. I'm rock hard, man. Dang on, yep.
Except for the bad part is that I understand Boomhauer better than I did this guy.
Well, yeah, just imagine if Boomhauer had a voice modulator on that made him sound incredibly deep voiced, so you could not understand him at all.
Oh man. But yeah, he's just like, anyway, you thought I'm alive still.
And they're like, oh no.
Heck.
So yeah, but Inuyasha also notices that he's able to see the wind scar on the Tetsusaiga. He's like, huh, that's weird. Let me use this. So he does that and does a good attack, but it's still not enough to defeat Ryokotse. So Ryokotse's like, I'm going to send a giant attack at you, and it's going to defeat you, and you're done. You're done!
You're done.
And everyone's like, oh no, he's going to die. But then Inuyasha just like charges forward at it. He's like, you know, if I use the wind scar at this point right here, I think we're going to be good. Like, I think it's okay, so I'm just going to try that. And he does it, and it diverts the attack back to Ryokotse and just starts sending out tornadoes and just cutting him up and chopping him up. And he's like,
I rock our body.
And he just gets chopped up into tiny little bits and then dies.
Yep.
And Inuyasha's like, nice.
Cool.
And everyone's like, whoa, good job, dude. And Inuyasha's like, whoa, Tetsusaiga, you did something real good to the Tetsusaiga. It's amazing. Look, I can do the wind scar all the time. Yeah. And Tetsusaiga's like, wait, you just kind of did that on a whim? That was the backlash wave. That you're supposed to be able to like know how to do that. You just kind of did it. Like, and Inuyasha's like, yeah, I just used my instinct and like it just took over. And it was like, okay, I'll just do this, and it worked. And Tetsusaiga's like, okay.
That's the ultimate technique.
I guess.
All right.
But he also explains like how it works. Like essentially, it's just a giant counterattack because it takes an enemy's attack and aura and just diverts it back to them and uses the wind scar in conjunction with it to make this wild attack that basically just like blah, 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 does that to them.
And then Inuyasha just starts wind scarring all over the place, everywhere.
Yeah. And Tetsusaiga's like, I'm out of here. I don't want to deal with this. And then everyone's just like, please stop. Please stop doing this. You're going to kill us.
This is a very dangerous thing for you to be doing because you're just
Kagome,
like throwing rocks around now at this point.
Kagome sit boys him, and then he's like, why did she have to do that? Why? But yeah, also Tetsusaiga says like you have to have a stronger will than your opponent to be able to use the backlash wave.
Whoa.
But yeah, I found it real interesting that like they build up this demon Ryokotse is like, oh, your father couldn't beat him. He had to like, you know, seal him away to defeat him. And Inuyasha defeats him in 1.5 episodes, and we still have what, like 100 episodes left to go.
Yep.
It's like, oh boy, huh?
Well, we still got to deal with a lot of other stuff like Naraku and Sesshomaru and
yeah, I understand that, but it's like they built up this technique as like this is your ultimate technique.
This is your ultimate move.
And it's still like, oh, we're like a third of the way into the story.
I also don't think that's really its ultimate move, but that's fine.
Well, I'm not saying that it is one way or the other. It's just the way the story at this point is saying.
No,
hey,
you're right.
Attack.
You're right.
It's like if in Dragon Ball Z they were like, Goku, you turning Super Saiyan is the ultimate technique, and this is the be all end all. And it's like, oh, there's still a lot of the story left to go.
Yep.
But that's neither here nor there. But let's that's the end of our episode. Let's talk about some notes real quick.
Okay.
Inuyasha uses the backlash wave for the first time without realizing it to defeat Ryokotse.
Yay, good for him.
This is the first time Inuyasha can use the wind scar whenever he wants.
Now he's just going to use it forever, every single time.
Yes. This is the last episode to be rated TV-14 on Adult Swim until episode 80.
What made it TV-14 here?
I guess because they chopped up a body.
Oh, yeah, a baddie. It's because they said rock hard so many times.
It's true. That's all. It's suggestive dialogue. The first movie, Affections Touching Across Time, was released between this episode and episode 55. They should have done what Naruto did and just sneak in subtle advertisements for the movie in the episode.
Oh my god.
Just like either like change the opening to an advertisement for the movie or just have literal posters for the movie hanging out in the town, or just have characters going to go see the movie or stuff like that.
Oh my god.
Naruto was not shameless about advertising when movies were coming out.
Wow.
It's very funny.
Wow.
This is the fourth time Inuyasha transforms into a demon. This is the first time Inuyasha resists his demon nature and chooses to use Tetsusaiga against Ryukotse. And in the manga, when Inuyasha shows off the wind scar for the first time after the battle with Ryukotse, Moroku reprimands Inuyasha by hitting him in the head with his staff, reminding him Tetsusaiga is still a dangerous sword and should not be shown off irresponsibly.
Yeah, don't
Thanks,
be
Dad.
irresponsible. Yeah, I mean, he is dad, so it makes sense.
It's true. But yeah, that is it for this episode. Also, this is like, if you were watching this not on Hulu, this is the end of the run of episodes you get.
Yep. This is
I don't-
it for Netflix and Crunchyroll.
I don't know why that is. Like, it has to be some weird licensing issue,
It
but
has
like, I
to
don't
be.
understand why they would be able to license like the first chunk of episodes and then not the rest.
I have no idea.
It's very bizarre, but yes, I guess next time we will either be discussing episode number 55 or the movie, depending on which we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 55 is entitled The Stoneflower and Shippo's First Love,
Mm-hmm.
where Shippo's gonna get some lovin'.
Oh my.
Or we'll talk about a movie entitled Affections Touching Across Time, where, I don't know, stuff will happen.
Stuff will happen.
It is a featured film. So we'll talk about one of those, one or the other, but that'll be coming up in a few weeks. But next week we will be returning, presumably, to Love Live Superstar, as long as nothing else happens to cause delays or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we will hopefully see out the rest of that season for the next 5 weeks.
Yes.
So there's all of that. But for now, that's going to do it for this week's episode. If you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from AnLadium, go to AnLadium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can buy our books, One Shining Moment, A Critical Analysis of Love Live Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. So join us next week as we make the return to Love Live Superstar.
Superstar!
Or it's more Inuyasha if you're just following this seasonally.
Yeah, there's that too.
Who knows?
Who knows?